Today on Derek Does, we're doing this. Hi everybody, welcome back to another Derek Does. I'm Derek, and if you're new here, please subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Today we are going to be doing a sewing machine video, and I'm going to be doing a home model. Normally I always do the industrials, which I'm always have industrials, but today I'm going to show you guys the Singer 401A. Now, if you're new to sewing and if you just want to get into making some jeans or making some shirts or hats or anything like that, this would be a great beginner machine. It's also a great machine if you're a seamstress or just a tailor and you're not sewing anything super heavy. This is a fantastic machine. This is what I would consider Singer made some really fantastic home machines, and this is one of them. This is an all steel machine. There's no plastics on this machine. There's one model past this is the 500. I guess this is the 400, then there's the 500 series. And that's pretty much the end of the great all steel Singer machines. Now before this, there was the 300 and then the 200 series. Again, all great machines. This one's really great because this machine, and like a 2 series, like a 201 or a 202, something like that, this, you can do different patterns on this machine, which is kind of cool. And again, it's all metal, and I bought this machine at a thrift store, and I was gonna clean it up, and I haven't touched it yet. And I thought maybe I would show you what I do when I get a brand new machine like this one, brand new. This machine is actually from 1956, and it was made in, I believe, South Carolina. This machine, and I'll show you close-ups of everything once we start working on this. There's a one of those label maker, but back from the 50s label maker, 60s, of Linda Lou Bailey. This was her machine, and it was at the thrift store, and I picked it up, and it was in really nice shape. Didn't come with a case, but it does have the bottom plastic cover, and it's like a little cover goes into it, and you screw it down, and it kind of holds it in there, so it's just not open, and then oil doesn't get on your tabletops. But they all came in this color. This was a real popular color at that time. Before that was black. Like if you go to a 3 series machine, they were black for a little bit, but then they made some of these tan colors, and then the Rocketeer style machines, and you can look all that stuff up if you're interested in that sort of thing. But let's talk about, this is the 401A, and if you get one of these, this video should help you, you know, what to do, how to thread it, things along that nature. So let's take a look at the 401A. All right, so the first thing that I do when I get a brand new machine is I kind of wipe it down. Just get kind of the major dirt off of it. And I just use like a simple green and some paper towels. I don't go crazy with it because it doesn't take a lot of simple green just to wipe down the machine. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just picking up any of the major, now if you have major dirt, if you get a machine that's like super filthy, then this process will take a little bit of time, but these home models generally were kept nice, you know, at least the original owner kept them nice, and then usually it's some nephew or something gets it later, and then that's how they wind up at the thrift store, because they don't know what to do with it, they don't sew. And that's really great for us because we can get some really nice machines. Let's get that back in there. It had a little bit of a thread on it, and again, this is, you can tell it's old. This is it's a wood bobbin that's on this still, but the thread will probably snap because that old cotton thread will snap, but that's what it is. It did still have the bobbin that came with it. This one is nice because there is no bobbin case. Like a lot of these old machines, you would have the bobbin, you put it in a bobbin case, and then you would then have to sew that way. And a lot of times when you go to the thrift stores and stuff, people steal the bobbin cases because usually the bobbin cases are worth as much as the machine. But it has the bobbin case already built into the machine, and it's just a drop. You just drop your bobbin in there, and these bobbins you can pick up on probably Amazon, really. So the next thing I do after I kind of do a little wipe down is I try to oil. And what I do is wherever there's holes, and you'll see there's holes. The old industrial machines will actually have a hole and like an actual little arrow, and it says oil. These machines don't really do that. Also, when you pick up a machine, get online and look at Google for your machine and find the manual for it if it doesn't come with a manual. Because what will happen is That manual will give you so much information about where to oil and how to thread it and how to do all sorts of stuff on your machine. So what I do is wherever there's a little hole, get one of these. I'll put a link to one of these too. I've had this for, I don't know, 15 or almost 20 years. You just buy it once and you can just refill it. But it is an oil dispenser with this kind of a long tube on it, which works great, and it's made for sewing machines. So you just kind of squeeze it in there, squirt a little oil. You can never really, at least in my eyes, over oil. I mean, you don't want to like just soak it in oil, but you do want to make sure that every little moving part gets some oil. And there's holes everywhere. Actually, that's not a hole for that one. Let's pull that out. There's just anywhere there's a hole, put a little drop of oil in there. It doesn't hurt anything. Anywhere there's moving parts, I just oil it. This machine's actually pretty nice. So when you open it up, you can see it gives you all the access to this open thing. Like an industrial, you actually have to undo stuff. This one's actually made so you just open it up. And here it actually shows you your threading diagram. Goes through there, around, up, and down again. So if you don't have that, these are kind of foolproof machines. They want people that buy this to just go, okay, this is great. I don't have to do anything because it tells me everything. So what I do, again, anywhere there's metal, I just give a little bit of oil. This machine doesn't need a lot of oil because it's actually running pretty smooth for the most part. A lot of these machines, particularly like old industrials, you'll pick them up and they'll barely even turn. This one actually turns really nice. And just doing that, you can see, oh, that's pretty smooth. So I don't have any issues. I think this machine's gonna just take off right away. So I'm gonna still use whatever thread this is, and I'm sure it's really old. And these machines, actually this has a little bit of tape residue. I'll get that out in a minute. Actually, I'll get it out right now. Sometimes they, at a thrift store or a sale, they'll put tape on it. Or even the past owner sometimes will put tape as a guide. And sometimes you want to get that off there. So you just peel that off. And if you ever get residue on your machine, like some tape residue, like it's been there for a long, long time, all you have to do is just get some lighter fluid. I actually have some, this is stuff I use. This stuff works great. You just squirt it on there and wipe it off with a paper towel and it comes right off. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of wiping down any place where I might have oiled, where a little bit of oil maybe seeped out or something along that nature. I'm just kind of making sure that nothing is... Now I didn't open this up either. This is something too you can do, and I'll do that since we're making a video. On this particular machine, if you put it down gently, there's a thumb knob here, thumb screw, that comes off, and then this plastic case comes off. And then inside, you can see the working gears and everything of your machine. And again, what I do is you'll find on these pieces of metal, there'll be like a little drilled hole. And they do that specifically so you can just put a little dab of oil on those areas, because that's a place where it wears. So what I do is just, anywhere there's moving parts, I just give a little bit of oil. I feel like Bob Ross, you know, just give a little drop of oil. So there you go. Now the actual motor for this machine is back here, so it's all hidden. It's unlike a modern, or not a modern, but the open black face industrial home machine. Sometimes the motor would be on the outside and we'd have the belt. This one's actually encased. Everything is just enclosed, so it's kind of nice. So I got everything oiled. I'm going to put this case back on. And also, if you want to see what yours is, let me pull that, a little bit more tape on there. Your serial number is right here. So look for your serial number. It might be behind this if yours is the same way as this machine is. And this one is from 1956, as I said. So then that just goes right back on. And you just take your little thumb screw there and off you go. All right. that is actually, it might have been inside, but it's just a little piece of felt for your, where did I do with it? Had to find the bobbin. It fell. So on this machine, we've oiled it up, we've cleaned it up. It seems to be running pretty smooth. So we're gonna put our bobbin in, and these bobbins are pretty universal. I don't think there's a left or a right way to do it. You just kind of drop it in, and then the bobbin case, or the plate, there's actually a little cutout on it, and it just goes like that. I'm not sure if everything can be seen in the video or not. And what we'll do is we will make sure this is threaded up correctly. And actually we'll just pull this completely out so you can see it from the beginning. You actually have two things of thread here because there are some stitches that you would use two things of thread. So it just goes over this little top piece here. And I'll do close-ups of all this stuff too as we do it. So it comes through this little case here, back through here. This is pretty common in most machines, how the setup is. And then we will thread it through this little hole on our thread lifter there. And it's all made pretty easy, so anyone can just kind of figure this out. And then this one actually threads, or the thread goes from the front to the back. I picked up this pair of tweezers actually it was in a drawer of an industrial I bought, and they're just so nice, and I don't know if they actually still make these or not. I'll put a link if they do. And these are pretty common industrial scissors, and they're really handy because they have a little thing for your finger, and you can just hold it there, and they're really nice. All right, so we've done that. We're going to raise that up. We're going to put our blue thread, which is our under one. We'll do one thread, and we'll come up, and I'm sure it's going to pick it up, and sure enough it does. Yeah, that's the nice thing about when you buy a machine from like a thrift store and that sort of thing. Generally, it's going to work. And I have some material here that we can, actually I'll use this just regular material here just to test it. And I'm just going to go by hand first before I plug it in. Because that's another thing when you buy a machine. Will it work or not? Well, you know, does it actually work? And this seems to be working fine. We'll just pull that out. Yeah, it makes a really nice stitch, which is another thing about these old machines. It takes a lot to kill one of these things. It really does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in our power. All right, so this machine came with this type of foot pedal. This is a Bakelite foot pedal. This is actually, there's two knobs here, or I guess they're knobs. One doesn't move at all. That's where your foot just rests. This one's where your big toe would push down on it. That's what these are. One works, one doesn't. This is just a rest to hold your foot and then push down, in case you were wondering about that. And then this has this type of plug. It's just a 2-plug. Some of them are 3-plug, or 3. This one's just a 2, and it should just plug in right there. See, there's a, you can see that, but there's a thing right there that plugs in. And look at that. Get that down, turn that around. That sounds really nice. And let's see what the stitches do. Let's pull that out a little bit. Looks like, oh, that's a little bit from that was already there. So it was actually, let's get a new piece of material so you can see. And what I'll do is I'll do 4 layers just to give it a little bit of a workout. Sometimes you gotta. And there you can see the white stitch is at the top there. It's kind of hard to see. And there's the blue stitch below. It's a great machine. It really is. So we'll pull that up. We'll put this back down. Actually, we'll pull the needle up. Put that down. Okay. So the major big thing about this machine is you can do all sorts of stitches, not just lock stitch, not just a straight lock stitch like this is. So I'll give you the kind of the overall of the machine. This is for your bobbin to rewind it. And what you do is you would put your bobbin here and then you just push it forward. And this little wheel actually runs along the wheel of the actual flywheel there. And it has a little notch here, like a little metal piece. So as it fills up, it pushes it away because it's getting filled with thread. And then when it's done, it pops off and it stops rethreading. And you would take it probably from this one and you would come down around here and then, or actually your thread would be down here, around here, and then up into this one. Okay, so that's and then it folds into this little hole there, which is really nice. So right now we're locked into the typical 6 stitches per inch. But if you unscrew this, you can go up to 8 to 10 to 15 to 20. And then up here would be reverse. So let me show you that. As it gets going, I might have to, it's been sitting probably for 20, 30 years. So letting this oil that I've done, and I might put some more on it too, will help just soak into everything. And the next time you use it, it'll go better and better and better. It's been sitting for quite a while. Again, you're seeing it run for the first time probably in 30 years. So you would sew, but then you could push this up and see it goes backwards now. So that's a really nice feature too. On these machines, you have reverse. Those older ones, sometimes you don't have reverse. Industrials, you usually don't have reverse. This is your thread tensioner for the top. That's standard for any machine like that. And if you look, if you fold this up, I'll do close-ups too. It gives you the straight stitch and it tells you A through K to 3 is left and K through 3 to 5 is right. I'll show you all this stuff. And it can also do 2 needles too. So you can actually do a 2 needle, and that's why you have two of these thread stands there. And it gives you all the different stitches it can do. So let's say we want to do I'll just pick a funny one here. So the red lever is at 3, it's the combination pattern 2 and 4. So if we want to do, let's say this first one, it's E, and so we turn this, let's see here, push it in. Oh, that's not turning at all. Okay, well, looking at this machine, what you would normally do to change these settings is you would pull out or push in the tan one and it would turn, or you pull out this beige one and it would turn this side. The trouble I'm having right now is, again, this machine, as I said, has been probably sitting for 30 years and it just needs to let this oil soak through stuff, because what happens is they use the oil or the whatever it is over the time they use for a lubricant has kind of dried into more of like a varnish. And so I need to just let this oil sit and it'll be the same thing. I'm sure this is going to work after it sits for a while, but it does the regular stitching on you. So I'll still do close-ups and everything. We just won't be able to see this function yet because we need to let this oil soak at least for a day or two. And then it should loosen up, because it tries to move, it just can't. So what I'll do is I'll probably open this up and just get inside and make sure I oil and clean everything that's in there. But I'm not going to do that on this video. Basically, I'm just showing you this machine as the machine itself. So it does have a light down here, and there's this little knob that you can switch on and off. And then it also has a cool thing. It has a throat plate positioner. You can unlock it. You can go up or down. So Here, I'll pull that up. So this is the throat plate lock here. So you can go up to remove it or down. That's just kind of a nice little feature. It's a sweet machine. And again, I'll do some close-ups now of just like little areas of it so you can kind of see everything. But this is the Singer 401A. So again, here's the machine, and I'll do some close-ups. This is what the foot pedal looks like. And there you can get the part number for it if you want to get the same one or see if this one matches yours. This would have come with a 1956 model. Here's that throat plate I was talking about. And then as you move it, you can see the throat plate. Let me pull that out. The throat plate actually goes up. So you can exchange this for whatever you want for your throat plate. The light is down here, and it's just a little switch. I'll show you that. Has a little glass globe there. This is your standard tension to set this, you know, depending what you're going to be sewing. These are the things I was talking about. This one you push in, and this one will turn, and this side you pull this one out, and this side will turn. You also have here those there, so we'll just move that. And then behind here, it gives you all your stitching that you can do. So your red lever at 3, and these are the combination patterns that you just need to turn these to match. So like I say, you wanted to do this IP one, you move this one to the I, and this one to the P, and you will get that stitch. Now these are your primary patterns too. You know, your zigzag, kind of a ovally, and then little triangles and everything. Those are just, you set that to B and L, and you'll get those stitches. Now you also have, and it came with, originally if you had bought it, a whole bunch of little cams that you can put in. So you have even more stitches than what you have there just by using these plastic cams that snap in. These were common in a lot of machines. Generally, I think the 301 versions and up had these cams into the 5s, and I think, you know, Kenmore had that, and White had that. All the different sewing machines had their versions of the cams. This is the winder I was talking about. So this is the little lift there, so you would put your bobbin in there, be empty, put your thread here, run it through there and up to the bobbin. You push it forward, and as that spun, it moved that. And then when that filled up, it would push this further and further, and then it stopped spinning. These again are your settings. You just unscrew, or you can just leave that. If you want to like just tighten it down so it doesn't move at all, you can tighten it down, it doesn't move. Or you can just leave it loose so you can go reverse, because most people will do this 6 as they go up and down, so, or maybe it's 5. I guess that could be 5 there. And then when you open this up, again, you have your threading diagram. And these are your moving parts that you just add a little oil to, and you're good to go. So there you have it. That is the Singer 401A. Now they had different versions. They had the 401 and then the 401A, and then I think then they went to the 500 and the 501, and there might be a 501A. I don't know all of the domestics, but if you look around, you can find all those, and each one has a different feature. These were all from the 50s, and they call it the Rocketeer because you can see this is actually at an angle. Where older machines it was straight up and down, this machine's at an angle. So that is, and then the other ones, the 500 actually comes out like this, and it looks like it's a race car. It's like going fast, so they called it the Rocketeer because it was so cool. But there you go. So I just took the top off, and I thought I'd show you guys. The top is super easy. If you ever get one of these, the top just has 2 screws, and anyone can do this. There's a screw here and a screw here, and then it just lifts right off. And what I did is I came in and I was just giving it more oil. And there's areas to oil. You would want to oil it here, here, over here. And that's actually a screw, you don't want to do that. And I put a little here, and I'm doing it just along, this is that lever that has been frozen up a little bit. So I'm just going to add the oil. And you see this one actually operates the back here, and this one operates the front. Right now I just can't get it to go back and forth, so that's what I'm going to be working on, getting this all oiled up and checked out. So, but this also, you want to get the oil here and here because that's your main rod that goes across here that runs everything. So it's good to get that oiled up. And here you can actually see the inside. So there's not a belt, it's actually driven by a gear, which is really nice on these machines. So you never have to worry about a belt breaking. It's just a worm gear and then a worm gear here. And that's what makes the wheels spin. Thought you might enjoy that.